All right, let's get into it. You know those films that just stick with you, the ones that hit hard, that really force you to look at uncomfortable truths about the world and maybe even yourself.
Yeah.
They don't just entertain, they leave an indelible mark, challenging your perspectives long after the credits roll.
Absolutely. They make you think. They
Yeah.
provoke something.
Exactly. Today, we're diving into one of those truly raw and, well, unforgettable pieces of cinema. You've probably heard of it, maybe you've seen it, American History X.
A powerful one, released back in 1998.
Right, directed by Tony Kaye, written by David McKenna. And it's an unflinching, visceral look at the ugly face of hatred, its insidious origins, its devastating consequences, and that incredibly challenging, often really painful path to redemption.
It really is. It's a film that demands our attention, doesn't it? Even decades later.
It absolutely is.
And what's truly fascinating about American History X, I think, is how its very narrative structure mirrors the complex journey of understanding that the film asks of its audience, asks of you. We're not just watching a story unfold, we're being pulled into this psychological and emotional excavation.
Yeah, like digging deep.
Exactly. We'll be connecting the dots between its narrative beats and its powerful underlying messages, helping you grasp not just what happens, but why it matters so deeply, and frankly, how it continues to resonate with uncomfortable relevance today.
Okay, so consider this your shortcut to being incredibly well-informed about a film that truly challenges us. We're going to navigate its complex narrative, sort of extracting the most important nuggets of insight from its elaborate story and core theme.
Giving you that privileged look.
Yeah, like you're getting all the critical analysis right here. We'll explore the characters, their profound transformations, and the enduring messages that make this film such a powerful and honestly necessary piece of cinema.
Okay, so let's set the scene for this deep dive then. Our story unfolds in Venice Beach, California. Now, that's a place famous for its vibrant, eclectic mix of cultures, right? Its seemingly open-minded atmosphere.
Right, you think sun, sand, boardwalk.
Exactly. Yet beneath that sunny facade, the film reveals it as this really unsettling backdrop for a deeply divisive tale of animosity and radicalization.
That contrast is stark.
It immediately sets up a stark contrast between expectation and reality. It's not the idyllic place it might seem on the surface.
And right at the heart of this unsettling reality are the Vinyard brothers, Derek and Danny. Right from the start, you feel this heavy shadow hanging over this family. A shadow cast by hatred that has seeped into their very home, almost like a toxic inheritance.
Yeah, feels pervasive.
Derek, played with this raw intensity by Edward Norton, that Academy Award-nominated performance.
Incredible performance.
Right. He's introduced to us as this once charismatic, yet incredibly violent neo-Nazi leader. He's a magnetic figure, but unfortunately for all the wrong reasons.
And then there's his younger brother, Danny, portrayed by Edward Furlong. He's impressionable, still forming his worldview, and tragically, he idolizes Derek.
Completely idolizes.
Yeah. Absorbing his every word and action like a sponge. It's a dangerous dynamic, really setting up the film's core tragedy from the get-go.
So the film throws you right in. It starts with Danny, right, in school.
It does. And this immediately raises a profound and frankly disturbing question. How does a young man like Danny come to praise Mein Kampf in a modern American classroom?
It's shocking.
The film doesn't just present the outcome. It forces you, the listener, to confront the insidious process of radicalization, showing how ideology can become deeply embedded within a family unit.
So Danny, reflecting these beliefs he's learned, turns in this school paper that just eulogizes Adolf Hitler's Mein Kampf.
Yeah. It's not just teenage defiance. It's a clear symptom of a much deeper ideological illness within the family, within his world.
It's an explosive opening scene.
Yeah.
And the response is immediate and, I think, brilliant in its narrative purpose. His principal, Dr. Bob Sweeney, who's African-American.
Gregory Brooks, great performance too.
Yeah. Yes. He doesn't just reprimand him or, suspend him. Instead, Dr. Sweeney gives Danny this ultimatum, a powerful narrative device that really sets the entire film in motion.
What's the ultimatum?
He tells Danny he must write a new paper, a personal reflection on the events that led to his brother Derek's transformation. And the title of this paper, American History X.
Wow.
It's a challenge, right? To confront the uncomfortable truths of his own family's history. his brother's history.
Yeah, and that moment is critically important because it officially kicks off the film's unique and incredibly impactful dual narrative structure.
Right.
The film itself effectively becomes this very assignment. We experience Derek's past through stark, often unsettling black and white footage.
Which feels so harsh, so cold.
It does, and it doesn't merely denote a different time. It visually strips away nuance, mirroring the black and white absolutist worldview of his radicalized self back then.
Okay, that makes sense.
Conversely, Danny's present-day journey, his struggle to understand and process his brother's path and his own burgeoning beliefs, is told in vibrant color. Suggesting what? More complexity? Hope, maybe?
Maybe. Hinting at a world capable of change and ambiguity, even as it struggles with the past's dark legacy. It's not simple.
Here's where the storytelling, for me, gets really compelling. This isn't just, like, an aesthetic choice, is it? It's a masterclass in visual storytelling that profoundly impacts how you experience the story.
Absolutely.
That stark black and white for the past, it's almost claustrophobic. It pulls you into this unraveling history, showing you the roots of the hatred we see in the present.
While the full color of the present feels fragile, uncertain.
Yeah. The visual contrast emphasizes the stark choices and the long shadow cast by the past. It's really effective.
Exactly. It draws a clear, almost visceral line between the darkness and brutal clarity of the past and the uncertain yet potentially hopeful present. This intentional stylistic choice immerses you directly in the psychological and emotional landscapes of the Vineyard family. You're not just observing, you're pulled through their unraveling history, understanding how one informs the other.
Creating a deeper understanding. Yeah, a much deeper understanding of the chronological unfolding of Derek's radicalization alongside Danny's immediate crisis and his attempt to grapple with its devastating legacy.
Okay, so that's the powerful setup. Let's now dive into those murky waters of Derek's radicalization, this really disturbing descent into hate. What was the catalyst? What truly set him on this destructive path, making him a magnet for extremist ideology? It can't just be one isolated event, can it? It usually isn't that simple.
You're right, it's rarely just one thing, but there is a profoundly heartbreaking catalyst that the film centers on, a personal loss that quickly, terrifyingly morphs into a devastating, generalized hatred.
Okay.
The film reveals that the pivotal event fueling Derek's initial descent is the killing of his father. His father, a firefighter.
A hero figure, essentially.
Right. He was tragically killed while responding to a call in a drug-infested neighborhood. This is a profound personal wound, a genuine tragedy that under normal circumstances would elicit sympathy and grief. However, this personal pain is immediately and expertly twisted, becoming the breeding ground for a much more sinister narrative.
And this twisting, this reinterpretation is absolutely crucial to understanding how hate spreads, isn't it? Instead of just grieving the individual loss.
He doesn't process the grief that way.
No. Derek immediately starts spouting hateful, racist rhetoric right there at the dinner table. I remember that scene. He blames affirmative action. He blames minorities.
Turning his very personal tragedy into a broader racial grievance.
Yeah, connecting it to a perceived systemic injustice against him, against white people. It's chilling to witness how quickly a personal wound can be exploited, weaponized, and then amplified through a pre-existing ideological framework.
Precisely. And this is where the insidious nature of extremist recruitment truly takes hold. A local extremist named Cameron Alexander enters the picture. Stacy Keach plays him.
Right, the older figure.
And he doesn't just preach hate. He identifies and cultivates leadership potential. He sees in Derek this charismatic, angry young man ripe for manipulation.
Someone he can use.
Someone who could be a powerful and persuasive voice within the white supremacist movement. Alexander nurtures that anger, channeling it into a predetermined, hateful narrative, convincing Derek that his father's death wasn't just a random act, but a systemic issue caused by the very groups he's taught to despise.
It's grooming, essentially.
It's a textbook case of how personal trauma is co-opted to serve a larger, hateful agenda. It's insidious.
And Derek, unfortunately, proves to be incredibly effective in this role. He quickly evolves into this prominent, almost iconic figure within a local white supremacist group.
He doesn't just join, he rises fast.
Exactly. He's not just a follower. He becomes a leader, recruiting others, giving these impassioned, hate-filled speeches, and actively participating in violent acts against minorities.
That basketball court scene.
Yeah, intense. You really see the raw charisma that makes him so dangerous, how he draws others into his orbit, feeding off their resentments and amplifying his own. It's a terrifying demonstration of how easily one can fall into a leadership role within such a movement.
And this rapid evolution has a truly devastating impact, particularly on his younger brother, Danny.
We see it happening in real time.
You see this incredibly dangerous mentorship forming, where Danny is essentially absorbing this ideology directly from his hero, the person he admires most in the world.
His big brother.
Danny looks up to Derek, idolizing him, and as a result, he begins to internalize Derek's beliefs and mimic his behaviors without question.
Without critical thought.
Exactly. This is how the cycle of hate begins to perpetuate within the Vinyard family, almost like a poisoned inheritance from one generation to the next. Danny isn't just exposed to the ideology, he's immersed in it by the person he trusts and admires most.
Which makes it incredibly difficult for him to resist its powerful pull, you'd imagine.
Absolutely. That dynamic of destructive mentorship, where the lines between admiration and indoctrination become so blurred, is a recurring and chilling theme throughout the film.
And this leads us directly then to the film's brutal climax of violence. The night that brings everything to a head for Derek and profoundly changes the course of his life and ultimately the trajectory of his family.
Indeed. The film builds to this moment of horrific, visceral violence that truly encapsulates the absolute depths of Derek's unchecked hatred. One night, a group of black men attempts to steal Derek's truck.
His father's truck, wasn't it?
I believe so, adding another layer. This act, while criminal, triggers an explosion of Derek's ingrained rage and racial animosity, pushing him past any point of return.
It's not just a response to a crime.
No, it's an eruption of years of simmering hatred fueled by ideology.
And it culminates in a scene that has become infamous, one that is truly difficult to watch, but absolutely essential, I think, to the film's unflinching message.
You have to talk about it.
We're talking about the iconic curb stomp scene. Derek, in a fit of uncontrollable rage and yet this cold, calculated cruelty. He shoots and kills one of the men.
And then the second part.
But then, in a shockingly brutal display, he forces another man to bite the curb and stomps on his head, killing him. It's a scene designed to be repulsive, to strip away any romanticism from the violence.
This scene is intentionally brutal, yes, but its true, unsettling insight lies in revealing how hatred doesn't just dehumanize the victim, it utterly annihilates the perpetrator's own humanity.
That's a key point.
It's the visual apex of Derek's complete surrender to his most base and violent instincts, forcing us, the audience, to confront the terrifying emptiness at the core of radicalized violence.
It makes you a witness.
It makes us complicit witnesses to his complete loss of self, a chilling demonstration of the dehumanization inherent in such extreme acts. The film doesn't shy away from the horrific, lasting consequences of his actions.
And the immediate consequences are severe, though perhaps not as far-reaching as the film eventually reveals. Derek is arrested.
Right there, with the swastika tattoo visible.
And sentenced to prison for 3 years. For a moment, you might think, okay, the direct threat is removed, he's off the streets.
A sense of temporary relief, maybe?
But the film quickly reminds us that the poison he spread, the ideology he championed, continues to infect his family, especially Danny, in his absence.
It's a stark, almost agonizing reminder that removing the individual doesn't automatically erase the ideology or its tenacious hold on others.
The roots are still there.
The group Derek built, the beliefs he propagated, continue to influence Danny, underscoring the persistent and dangerous grip of the ideology. Danny is left to navigate a world that is still very much shaped by Derek's choices.
And he leans into it.
And in a tragic mirroring of his brother's path, he continues to walk down the same dark road, proving that hate doesn't simply disappear when its primary instigator is gone.
So Derek is in prison, removed from his environment, from his group, from Danny. And this is where the film takes a pivotal and deeply uncomfortable turn, showing us the crucible of change, Derek's prison awakening. What happens behind those bars that begins to chip away at such deeply ingrained hate? It can't be easy to dismantle a worldview that has defined you for so long.
Absolutely not. It's a brutal, drawn-out process. Initially, Derek aligns himself with the white supremacist inmates inside prison. It's the natural, almost instinctual move for him.
Safety in numbers, perceived brotherhood.
Right, he seeks out his own kind, reinforcing the identity he spent years building. But the harsh, unforgiving reality of prison life, the sheer banality of evil, quickly begins to shatter his ideological illusions.
Oh, so.
The brotherhood he believed in is far more transactional and self-serving than he ever imagined. It's not about pure ideology. It's about power and survival within the prison system.
And this disillusionment is compounded by a truly stark realization.
Yeah.
the blatant hypocrisy of his supposed allies.
Right. He discovers that these so-called proponents of racial purity are just that, hypocrites.
What are they doing?
Engaging in drug deals with Latino inmates, completely undermining the very tenets of the ideology they claim to uphold. It's a moment of profound cognitive dissonance for him, isn't it?
Definitely. The purity he preached is just a facade for common criminality and self-interest.
It's a crucial turning point because it forces Derek to confront the practical contradictions and the self-serving, cynical nature of the ideology he so vehemently embraced. His abstract ideals clash brutally with the grim, self-interested reality of his fellow white supremacists.
He starts seeing them differently.
He starts to see them not as ideological warriors fighting for a cause, but as common criminals motivated by greed and power, no different, in essence, from those he was taught to hate. This realization is corrosive. It begins to erode the very foundation of his belief system.
And the film ensures this realization comes at an immense and truly horrific personal cost. When Derek objects to their hypocrisy, challenges their dealings.
His former brothers turn on him violently. He is subsequently raped by white inmates.
A devastating sequence.
A devastating physical and emotional assault that leaves him utterly shattered. This is where the film truly shows the profound, brutal cost of his choices, and it's a moment that forces you to confront the brokenness within him.
It's incredibly hard to watch.
It's a deeply traumatic experience that strips away any remaining illusions of racial solidarity or honor within the white supremacist group. It's the ultimate act of betrayal and humiliation, not just from his perceived enemies, but from those he once considered his own.
It destroys his old identity.
This isn't just physical pain, it's the systematic destruction of his identity, profoundly marking him and signifying a pivotal, albeit horrifying, shift in his worldview.
But out of this profound suffering and betrayal, an unlikely connection begins to form, right? A beacon of humanity in the darkness.
Yes, thankfully. We're introduced to Lamont, a black inmate who Derek works with in the prison laundry. Guy Torrey plays him.
Yeah, I remember him. Their interactions are interesting.
This friendship, or at least this working relationship, becomes incredibly pivotal to his transformation. Lamont represents a vital counter-narrative to Derek's ingrained hatred.
How does he do it?
His approach is key. He treats Derek with humor and kindness, challenging his beliefs not with aggression or judgment, but with simple human decency and wit. He uses jokes, conversation.
He doesn't preach.
No, he simply shows Derek a different way of interacting, a different kind of humanity, offered without condition or expectation. This subtle yet powerful human connection is what truly begins to chip away at Derek's hardened defenses, creating fissures in his rigid worldview.
It's disarming for Derek.
Very. It's a powerful example of how connection, empathy, and genuine human interaction can begin to dismantle even deeply ingrained prejudice. Lamont becomes a mirror of decency for Derek, reflecting back something other than the hate he's accustomed to.
And Dr. Sweeney, the principal who initially gave Danny the American History X assignment, he doesn't disappear either, does he?
No, he continues to play a vital and persistent role. He visits Derek in prison, maintaining a consistent connection, encouraging his change.
But still believes in him.
Seems to, and crucially warning him that Danny is now following the exact same destructive path he once did. That's a heavy burden for Derek to hear.
That must hit hard.
Dr. Sweeney's persistence is incredibly significant. He doesn't give up on Derek, seeing past the hatred to the potential for change and redemption. His warnings about Danny are a powerful motivator for Derek, forcing him to confront the devastating ripple effects of his own actions.
A legacy he created.
And the tragic legacy of hate he's inadvertently passed on. It's a call to action from outside the prison walls, a reminder of what he stands to lose.
So by the time Derek is released...
By the time Derek is released from prison, he is, by all accounts, a profoundly transformed man. He's deeply ashamed of his past actions and absolutely determined to leave hate behind him, to undo the damage he caused, starting with his own brother.
So he gets out, a changed man ready to make amends to save his brother from the path he himself had walked. But what's the grim reality he comes home to? Does Danny recognize the change in him? Does the family welcome him with open arms into a peaceful home? It's probably not that simple.
Unfortunately, no. It's far from simple. He comes home to a nightmare, realizing the monster he helped create is still very much alive and actively threatening his family from within.
Oh, man.
Upon his return, Derek finds his family in a state of profound disarray and further entanglement in the very world he sought to escape. Danny is, tragically, even more deeply involved with the neo-Nazi group than before Derek went to prison.
He filled the vacuum.
He essentially stepped into the void his brother left.
Yeah.
And worse, Cameron Alexander, the manipulative architect of Derek's radicalization.
He's still around.
Oh, yes. He's now actively using Danny as a new recruit, grooming him to fill the void Derek left, almost as if the cycle is simply repeating itself with the new generation.
That's horrifying for Derek to see.
It's a horrifying realization for Derek, seeing his brother trapped in the exact same snare that once consumed him. The weight of his past actions is palpable, you feel it.
And the rest of the family.
His mother is physically unwell, clearly stressed, emotionally exhausted, bearing the immense weight of the family's turmoil and the constant threat of violence.
And his sister, Davina.
His younger sister, Davina, fiercely rejects Derek's former ideology and the toxic atmosphere it created. She represents this island of sanity and moral clarity within the family, but she's also deeply scarred and angry, understandably.
So Derek returns to a landscape that directly reflects the devastating long-term consequences of his past choices.
A world poisoned by the very hate he now seeks to abandon. There's no easy homecoming.
So what does he do? Derek doesn't hesitate, does he? His first act of defiance and commitment to change is to confront Cameron Alexander directly.
He goes right to him,
warning him to stay away from Danny to leave his brother alone. As you can imagine, this quickly escalates into a violent altercation.
a physical manifestation of Derek's desperate fight to reclaim his brother and sever ties with that poisonous past. It's raw.
And visually, there's that powerful moment.
Yes, the shaving scene. This isn't just a physical act. It's a profound public rejection of his former identity and ideology. He symbolically and literally shaves his head, removing the neo-Nazi hairstyle
Getting rid of the symbols.
and facial hair that defined his past, a visual shedding of his old self. He then directly confronts the neo-Nazi group he once led, rejecting them to their faces. It shows his unwavering commitment to change, to severing ties with that life completely and unambiguously.
It's a powerful visual declaration of his transformation and his resolve. You see the determination.
Oh, you do?
And then you get to the conversation you've been waiting for the whole film, really.
Mhm.
The moment where Derek finally desperately tries to break the cycle with his brother to undo years of indoctrination.
The heart to heart.
He has this crucial, heartfelt conversation with Danny, laying bare his soul. He explains his horrific experiences in prison, the brutal realities he faced, and how the ideology he once championed was nothing but a web of lies and self-serving hypocrisy.
He articulates with gut-wrenching honesty how hate only led to pain, betrayal, and immense loss for him personally. He doesn't just tell Danny what to believe or not to believe.
He shows him why.
He explains why he believes it, based on his lived, brutal experience. He meticulously exposes the hollowness and hypocrisy behind white supremacy, detailing how it preys on vulnerability and offers false belonging.
And Danny listens.
This is the moment Danny truly begins to understand, to see the world through his brother's new, clear-eyed lens. It's not an easy conversation, filled with tears and raw emotion, but it's absolutely essential for Danny's awakening.
This pivotal conversation marks the true turning point for Danny, you feel. He starts to see the world and his brother's past through a new lens, one stripped of the glorification and bravado that initially drew him into the white supremacist ideology.
The truth finally seems to cut through the years of lies, and you see the immediate, hopeful impact. Danny takes his assignment, American History X, seriously.
He finishes the paper.
He completes the paper, transforming it into this powerful reflection on the destructive power of hatred and, crucially, the possibility of change. He's processing his experiences, his brother's journey, and forming his own understanding. It feels like progress.
He even includes a powerful quote from Abraham Lincoln in his essay, right? A symbol of his own shift toward hope and understanding.
We are not enemies, but friends. We must not be enemies.
Yeah. It's a truly beautiful and poignant moment, signifying Danny's intellectual and emotional departure from the hate that has consumed his family for so long. It feels like a genuine step towards a different future for him. You feel that hope.
The inclusion of Lincoln's words here is incredibly poignant, underscoring the film's central theme of reconciliation and moving beyond division, even as we, the audience, maybe dread what might still be to come given the film's tone.
Yeah, there's that tension.
It feels like a moment of triumph, though. A fragile sign that Derek's desperate fight to save his brother has worked. Danny has chosen a different path, completing the paper with a hopeful tone, and you, as the viewer, feel a sense of cautious, fragile optimism for the Vinyard family.
And just when you feel that flicker of hope, when you imagine a new beginning for these brothers, the film delivers its most gut-wrenching, soul-crushing blow.
It pulls the rug out from under you.
The very next morning, at school, in a devastating and sudden twist of fate, Danny is shot and killed by a black student in the bathroom.
This tragic climax is a punch to the gut precisely because it happens just as hope emerges. The film reveals that this wasn't entirely unprovoked either.
How so?
It was due to a prior conflict between them, fueled by racial tension that Danny, in his earlier radicalized state, had actually instigated.
Oh, wow. So his past.
Danny's past, the very ideology he was desperately trying to shed, tragically and ironically caught up with him. It's a brutal demonstration that even when one begins to change, the ripple effects of past actions and ingrained societal hatreds can still lead to unimaginable, irreversible consequences.
Destroying lives.
Destroying lives that were just beginning to find a path to light. It's just devastating.
The devastation is complete, palpable. Derek rushes to the school and finds his brother's lifeless body, cradling Danny in his arms in a scene of raw, unadulterated anguish.
It's a shattering image.
The ultimate price paid for a path Derek himself had once walked. A visceral consequence of the cycle of hatred he had participated in and tried so desperately to break. The silence that follows is just deafening.
Amplifying Derek's anguish and the crushing weight of what has happened. And as the credits roll, we hear Danny's voiceover reading the final lines of his completed paper.
The American History X paper.
Yeah. Hatred is a burden. It can eat away at you until there's nothing left. I'm telling you, it's not worth it.
Oh, that's heavy.
This statement, coupled with the immense tragedy we've just witnessed, provides the film's ultimate, sobering, and utterly heartbreaking message. It's a brutal reminder that the choice to embrace or reject hate can have far-reaching, irreversible consequences.
Not just for you.
Not just for the individual who chooses it, but for those they love, for an entire family, and ultimately for society.
It's a powerful, devastating ending that sticks with you long after the screen goes dark. So as we grapple with that final, heavy scene, what are the enduring lessons from American History X? What themes resonate most strongly, especially, in today's world?
Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture, the film shows hate, not as an isolated incident, but as a perpetuating, almost viral cycle.
Like a disease.
Passed down through generations and social circles, it powerfully illustrates that hate is indeed passed down like a disease, infecting one person after another. We see it clearly with the Vinyard family, from the father's casually racist rhetoric that initially influenced Derek.
Which Derek mentions in prison.
Right. To Derek's direct and intense indoctrination of Danny. And this cycle isn't just familial, it's societal. Figures like Cameron Alexander actively recruit and cultivate new generations of hatred, finding fertile ground in personal grievances and societal anxieties.
The film shows the mechanics of it.
Yeah, it shows you the precise mechanics of this transmission, making it chillingly clear how easily it can take hold and spread.
It's almost like a psychological contagion, spreading from person to person, perpetuating itself. But then there's Derek's profound transformation. It offers this incredible beacon of hope, doesn't it?
It does.
Demonstrating that people can change. Even after committing horrific, unspeakable actions, we see him actively trying to undo the damage to save his brother, to live a profoundly different life, one driven by love and responsibility rather than hate.
However, the film critically discusses a crucial caveat. The consequences of their past may still linger, casting a long, dark shadow, as evidenced so tragically by Danny's death.
Redemption isn't neat.
No. Derek's redemption is deeply personal, a powerful internal shift, but it doesn't automatically erase the world he helped create, nor does it guarantee the safety of those he loves from the very forces he once championed.
That's a tough reality.
It's a profoundly nuanced portrayal, showing that while internal transformation is possible and essential, the external world, shaped by past actions and ongoing societal dynamics, continues to exert its force. Redemption, in this context, is a hard-won journey with immense, often unforeseen costs.
It requires confronting everything.
A path that requires confronting not just one's own beliefs, but the ripple effects of their actions.
And the influence of role models is absolutely central to this story, isn't it? We see how Danny blindly, almost tragically, followed Derek into hate.
Idolized him completely.
And then the desperate, agonizing attempts Derek makes to lead him out once he's undergone his own transformation.
The film powerfully stresses the immense importance of both positive and negative mentorship in shaping individuals, particularly young, impressionable minds. Cameron Alexander is presented as the destructive, negative mentor,
Grooming Derek.
turning his grief into venom. Derek, in turn, becomes the negative mentor for Danny, his own hero. Then you have Dr. Sweeney and Lamont emerging as crucial, positive, redemptive role models for Derek, showing him a different path, a different way to be.
Counterweights.
Exactly. The narrative arc starkly illustrates the profound impact of these relationships, underscoring how quickly a young mind can be molded by those they admire, and how difficult, yet absolutely essential it is to provide a counter-influence, to offer an alternative path before it's too late.
And perhaps most uncomfortably, the film's brutal honesty forces us to confront uncomfortable truths about racism, white supremacy, and how these ideologies don't just appear out of nowhere.
No, they fester.
They take root and spread through fear, manipulation, and the exploitation of very real personal grievances.
And this raises an important question for all of us, right? How do societies confront such deeply entrenched ideologies? The film doesn't offer easy answers,
Far from it.
but it forces us to look at the precise mechanisms of radicalization. It shows us how these ideologies spread through the exploitation of personal pain, like Derek's grief over his father's death, and how they offer a false sense of belonging, purpose, and power to those who feel marginalized or resentful.
It forces us to acknowledge the pervasiveness.
Yeah, rather than just dismissing them as isolated incidents or the acts of
Yeah.
a few fringe individuals, it's a stark, unflinching look at a very real and ugly part of human history, and unfortunately still very much part of our present.
It challenges us to look deeper.
To look beyond the surface of hatred to its underlying causes.
And that brutal honesty, combined with the powerful performances, Edward Norton's especially, which earned him that Academy Award nomination for Best Actor,
Deservedly so.
and the unflinching narrative is why American History X has such an enduring impact. It's widely regarded as one of the most emotionally powerful and socially relevant films of its era, and rightly so.
It's a film that resonates because its themes are unfortunately timeless, making it as relevant today, perhaps even more so, than it was back in 1998.
Sadly true.
It remains a stark, necessary reminder of the destructive power of hatred and the fragile yet profound hope that comes with confronting it, even amidst profound tragedy.
What gives it that staying power, do you think?
Well, I think what gives American History X its enduring resonance isn't just that its themes are timeless, but how precisely it dissects the mechanisms of radicalization. It forces us to confront not merely the existence of hate, but how it exploits personal pain, provides false belonging, and thrives on societal anxieties.
Understanding the how.
Exactly. This detailed dissection makes it just as urgent today as we continue to see similar patterns playing out globally. It asks us to look at the genesis of hate, the systems that enable it, and the personal, often devastating consequences for everyone involved.
So we've navigated the complex, often painful world of American History X. We've seen the depths of hatred, the glimmer of redemption, and the ultimate heartbreaking cost that reminds us that consequences are often far-reaching.
Yeah. The film leaves you with this visceral understanding that while change is profoundly possible, the threads of past actions can weave through the fabric of the future in unpredictable and tragically irreversible ways.
Walking away isn't simple.
No, it underscores that walking away from hate is not a simple act. It's a profound, often lifelong struggle with immense personal and social ramifications. It's a constant battle against the shadows one leaves behind.
So what does this all mean for you listening? As we reflect on American History X, it really forces us to ask, if hatred is a burden, as Danny so poignantly wrote in his paper,
That final line.
how do we, individually and collectively, truly put it down? And maybe even harder, what are the hidden costs of the hate we sometimes carry? Maybe unknowingly, even after we try desperately to move on.
That's a heavy thought.
It is. The film forces us to confront not just the hate itself, but the immense, often unseen toll it takes on everyone it touches, even those who try desperately to escape its grasp.
It's a stark reminder that the path to true change is paved not just with good intentions, but with immense responsibility.
And the courage to face the full weight of one's history.
Absolutely.
So yeah, we encourage you to reflect on these powerful themes and perhaps rewatch the film with this new lens, considering the deep dive you've just experienced with us.